Good morning, everyone. It is, let me see here, 9:02 a.m., November 13th, 2024, and I'm going to call the meeting of the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority Board of Directors to order. Robert, would you do roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Perez.
Here.
Mr. Reyes. Here. Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Ms. Bird.
Here.
Ms. Enriquez.
Here.
And Ms. Masters is joining us
All right,
via
thank
telephone.
you. So
Mr.
we do
Smith
have a
is
quorum?
not here. We do have a quorum. No public comment received.
No public comment received. Thank you. With that, I'll move on to item 2, adoption of the minutes for the RMA board meeting of October 9th, 2024. Has everyone had a chance to review? If there are no changes or comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion.
I second it.
I have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 3, presentation, discussion, and action on board resolutions authorizing the award of one or more component parts of the Weiler Aerial Tramway Phase 1 project to the lowest responsible bidder and execution of a construction contract with such low bidder. Robert?
IT, if you could bring up the PowerPoint for item 3. Yes, Robert Studer, Director of Finance, for the record. Thank you. So I've got a brief PowerPoint that I'll go over with you today. Our usual agenda to refresh the project details, the project scope and location, potential timelines, or timelines of the bid process, the bids received, and then our requested board action. So as a reminder, this is a project being developed jointly with Texas Parks and Wildlife and the RMA, and the El Paso Community Foundation has also indicated its support financially as well. We have received 3 different tranches from Texas Parks and Wildlife, as they have received 3 different tranches from the Texas Legislature in the last 3 sessions. And there are also 3 components of this project. Phase 1, which we're talking about today, which includes the loop road and prep work for the subsequent components. Phase 2, which is the visitor center itself and the aerial station. And then 3rd is the tramway. And again, we're just talking phase 1 today. So phase 1 was designed by Atkins Reales, and construction management will be provided by our other GEC HNTB. So the bid included base bid 1, which is construction of loop road, other site improvements, structures, storm drainage, a communication building, security system, landscaping, and other additional improvements. And then it had 3 add alternates: 1, day use shelters; 2, construction of an amphitheater and fire pit; and 3, some hiking trail improvements, which you can't see there at the bottom. So just as a reminder of the site, currently this building exists now, and you come up this road, and then the parking lot more or less ends right here, and that's the current. This phase will add this loop road and begin the site prep work here, and then the trail heading this direction, and possible shelters as well. So as a reminder, Texas Parks and Wildlife is providing funds for design and construction, providing owner input. The RMA managed the design, prepared and let for construction, and then we'll provide construction management throughout the project. Here's where the project is located in the northeast. We originally advertised for the projects in July. We held 2 conferences on site so that contractors, it's a unique project, so we were on site and made ourselves available along with the design firm and HNTB, the construction management, so that they could see, take pictures, and then ask questions after they were there. We answered those questions on September 5th, and then bids were due and opened on October 10th, and now we're bringing it forward to you award today. Contractor could possibly start as early as January 2025. We do anticipate approximately 20 months to complete, and that would put us at around September 2026. And those, of course, are subject to change. 7 firms showed interest, and I'm sorry this is so small, but 7 firms showed interest. We received 3 bids, 1 from International Eagle, who is the low responsive bidder, 1 from Jordan Foster, and 1 from Spartan Construction. Jordan Foster then withdrew their bid due to a potential conflict, as one of their owners sits on the Texas Parks and Wildlife Board. The other 4 firms that showed interest initially did not submit bids. And the low bid is just over 3% above the opinion of probable cost.
Man, that bid is really dramatic.
Yes, there were,
So we're really comfortable that that is responsive and responsible?
yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, the other one is twice as much as the cost.
Yes, and
I'm shocked, but, okay, I just,
yes, ma'am.
even
No,
joint
good
cost
question,
is a
and we
little
did,
high.
we did review and I think,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
And this firm,
International Eagle, you may recognize, they are currently working on the John Hayes Phase 1 project
okay,
for us.
so they've got a demonstrated track record of successful project
Yes, ma'am.
construction and management? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So, our requested action today is a motion to approve a board resolution to authorize the executive director to take the following actions in relation to this project: select International Eagle as the contractor that submitted the lowest responsible bid, and authorize staff to negotiate and execute a construction contract with that firm.
Are there any questions?
And staff does recommend approval.
Are there any questions from anyone?
No.
Good process.
Yes, ma'am.
Good process. Okay, so if there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
So I have a motion
A second.
and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Leah, I'm sorry, if you have questions, just make sure you flag me before we do anything. So I don't.
Okay, the only one I can hear is you, and I can't see anybody, and
Okay.
I don't know if you all can see me or what, but
I can see you. All right, everybody, make sure you've got your mic on.
Ms. Masters, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you,
Okay,
and I
good.
can hear Joyce, and that's the only two people I can hear.
Okay, we'll make sure the mic's on. Sissy, can you speak?
Hello?
Okay, I can hear her.
Okay, so it's the mic.
Yeah.
So when the others speak, I'll make sure they have the mics on, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right. So I'm going to move then to item 4, presentation, discussion, and action on board resolutions authorizing the award of the Rojas Drive Phase 2 project to the lowest responsible bidder, execution of a construction contract with such low bidder, and execution of amendments to the following instruments. 4A, work authorization number 4 with Gannett Fleming, Inc., and 4B, work authorization number 50 with Atkins Realis USA, Inc.
Okay. IT, would you please bring up the PowerPoint for item 4? So just by way of background, Rojas Drive was completed as a road, and this phase 2 is for some additional improvements on top of it that we'll talk to. So again, same basic agenda as on the last one. It's a project being jointly developed by the county and the RMA, and we do have construction funds available for this one as well. The RMA entered into an agreement with the county to procure and oversee the design, which is complete, and construction of the project, which is before you today. Gannett Fleming, formerly known as Dannenbaum Engineering, completed the design, and construction will be provided by Atkins Realis, one of our GECs. There is the terminus of the project. So on the western edge is Loop 375, and on the eastern edge is East Lake Boulevard. So the project, again, as a road, is already completed, but we will be adding a intersection or a signal at this intersection right here at NONAP, and then there are additional signing and pavement markings, striping, and other enhancements that will exist throughout the project, but that's the project. It's not new road construction, it is enhancements to an already existing road. So the role of the county is to provide the design and construction funding for the project and provide owner input. The RMA manage the design phase of the project. We have prepared and let the project for construction, and then we'll provide construction oversight. So we first advertised the project in September. Bids were opened in late October, and we're before you today to award the project. Like the last one, the contractor could start as early as January 2025, standard work week of Monday through Friday. We anticipate only 6 months to complete the work, and possible completion could be this summer. And again, as usual, subject to change. We only received one bid. It was from Tri-State Electric, and as you can see below there, it was below the opinion of probable cost, so that's good news. So we do have requested board action today for three things. So let me add that on 4A, we have an amendment to our agreement with, our work authorization with Gannett Fleming for them to provide design services during construction. That is for $23,208.55. And then 4B is an amendment to work authorization number 50 with Atkins for $165,005.22, and that's for construction management, inspection, that sort of thing. We do already have the funds from the county, so we do not have an ILA amendment to access additional funds because we already have access to those funds. So we do ask for a motion to approve Tri-State as the lowest responsible bidder and allow and execute a construction contract with them, execute the two amendments, one with Gannett Fleming and one with Atkins, and staff recommends approval.
Are we gonna take these two together?
Yes, we could take all of them together.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I so move.
I have a motion.
I second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so we're on item 5, presentation, discussion, and action on a board resolution authorizing the rejection of bids received for the Fabens Airport T-Hangar Improvements Project procurement.
Yes, ma'am. IT, if you could bring up the PowerPoint for item 5. So as you read into the record, this one is a little bit different. Same agenda as the other two. This is a project, again, being a partnership with El Paso County at the airport. We've got numerous things. In fact, you may recall we've got hangars under construction right now, box hangars that are out there. This is for T-hangars. We've completed the design and we fully designed out many T-hangars, and then we went out to bid here. Hewitt Zollers provided the design, Atkins would provide the construction management. This is just a reminder of what T-hangars look like, literally the letter T. And then we were going to have many of them located out at the Fabens Airport. County provided design and construction funding for the project and owner input. The RMA managed design, the letting, and would provide construction management. Oh, sorry. So we advertised the bids in August and September, and then opened the bids in late September, and now we're asking for you all today to take some board action. We received only one bid. It was from Jordan Foster, who has the hangars project that's currently under construction, but it was well above the opinion of probable cost and beyond the scope of what the county has as funding. So today we're asking you to reject the bid and let us coordinate with the county on additional funding.
Was it about $5 million?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and so we were going to reject the bids. We need to take action on them before they expire, and then we'll coordinate with the county on a process going forward. So the requested action today is to do both of those things, reject the bids, and then work with El Paso County on potential next step for development of this phase of the project. Staff does recommend approval.
Okay, before we move though, I do have a quick question. So the probable costs were really low compared to the bid. Was there any explanation for the variance?
Yes, so there are a limited number of firms that manufacture T-hangars, and I believe this is a small project for them, and so the efficiencies you would get from building more of them
Okay.
did not exist, and so there was a very high cost to just build a small number of them, and so that's where we're going to go back and talk with county,
Okay,
the
fine,
strategy.
thank you, that's helpful. Any other questions or discussion? If not,
I
I'll
have-
yes,
This is
Leah?
Leah, I do have a question. Who uses the Fabens Airport? Who's it
It's-
used by?
It's a general aviation airport, so private citizens can use it, but also I know there's a large partnership with UTEP out there as well, that
Okay.
they lease hangar space, but the county has really been developing that airport over the last few years. They've won an award, or several awards to their improvements, but this is one step in that. Ms. Masters, we've done a planning study out there. We've designed a monument, which may be before this board at some point in the future to do that work out there. We've got the hangars themselves. We've done the AWAS that we've let recently in Fuel Farm, which will hopefully be coming back before this board as well in the future. So the county's making many improvements out there to really enhance that airport and hopefully drive some additional usage, but it does receive a good amount of usage.
Okay,
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to reject the bids as recommended.
I so move. This is Leah.
Okay, Leah Masters moves.
A second.
Sissy Bird second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving to item 6, discussion and action on a board resolution authorizing the execution of a First Amendment to the agreement with respect to Socorro Transportation Reinvestment Zone Number 2.
Okay, Robert Studer, for the record. So originally, the RMA and City of Socorro entered into an interlocal in 2022 related to its transportation reinvestment zone. Ms. Masters, just real quickly, as some background for you, a transportation reinvestment zone is we discussed it during your onboarding, but it's a tax increment financing specifically geared towards transportation projects. We've worked with the city, we're working with Horizon on these, but we have one with Socorro where they pledged the revenue to us and ultimately to help them eventually develop a project. That project is needs some additional design dollars, and so we are now partnering with Socorro to transfer them back some of the money they've sent to us to do two things on the design of that project. First is providing up to $678,196.68 necessary to complete the design itself. Second, Socorro is partnering with a third-party developer to add an intersection, a signal at an intersection, and so we are providing them up to $150,000 to reimburse that private entity for the development of that signalized intersection. We do have more than $5 million available in the balance. We have coordinated with Socorro. Ultimately, the plan is to use the TRZ either to pay, use it as match on a project, but this project should have federal funds, and so we may partner with them, apply for a SIB loan, and use that to the match. We're not there yet, but as of today, we're just asking for the authority to send money back to Socorro to complete the design in those two different areas. And staff does recommend approval.
Are there any questions or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 7, discussion and action on a board resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to the contract for indefinite deliverable professional engineering design services with Gannett Fleming, Inc., formerly known as DEC El Paso LLC.
Good morning, Ms. Wilson. So, Gannett Fleming, again, as you read into the record, acquired DEC, formerly known as Dannenbaum Engineering. They are one of our IDC firms from our 2022 IDC project. When we do that, they are required to be available to us for any transportation-related project. And we get from them rates for their different disciplines and what they do. We did not get architecture rates. Many times we don't need them because most of our work is not vertical. You may have noticed in the recent history we're getting more vertical work, and so we're adding their architecture rates to their master agreement, and then as we use them on an IDC, we can access those master rates, but we cannot use them without adding, on specific IDCs that require an architect without adding this first. So this is a first step, and staff does recommend approval.
Okay. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion, please.
I'll approve. I so motion. This is Leah.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Number 8, discussion and action on a board resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to work authorization number 1 with CEA Engineering Group for the John Hay Street Extension Project.
So I mentioned this project a little bit ago with International Eagle because they're the ones doing the construction, and phase 1 is ongoing right now. So this was originally designed as one big project. Ultimately, funding issues came into place, so we split it into 2 phases. Phase 1 is under construction right now with International Eagle. Phase 2, TxDOT is asking us to upgrade the plans using their 2024 spec book. We're required to do that so that we meet the current specs, and so this is adding an amendment to our design firm CEA so that they can do that work to upgrade this to TxDOT's 2024 spec book. Staff does recommend approval. The amount is $23,496. And we do have access to funds. We have an IRLA with the county wherein they gave us access to $120,000 of VRF funds, and we'll use that to complete this work. So there's no amendment with the county.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving to item 9, discussion and action on board resolutions authorizing the following actions as they relate to Phase 2, fiscal year 2025 of the Sun Cycle Bike Share Fleet Enhancement Project as part of the El Paso Metropolitan Planning Organization's Transportation Alternative Set-Aside Calls for Projects for fiscal year 24-25. Including A, those actions necessary to pursue and accept an increase in grant program funding. B, execution of an advanced funding agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation. And C, those actions necessary to allocate associated matching funds for the program.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. So try to keep this in kind of two different buckets. So we originally applied for years 24 and 25, and then we most recently, last month, brought to you applications for 26, 27, 28. We're not messing with those at all today. 24, we already received the go-ahead from TxDOT and are submitting reimbursement to them. We have those bikes purchased and deployed. However, we budgeted the match for that as part of our annual 2024 budget. We didn't get the go-ahead until August 31st. We didn't receive the bikes until this year. So this year in the budget in 2025, we budgeted the match for 25. And we talked about this with the Finance Committee, and I believe the board as well, that I may have to come back to you to ask. We didn't spend the match, so we didn't roll it over. We're asking,
didn't roll
we
it
didn't
over?
roll over from 24, so we're just asking to reallocate the money in 25. So we're the same amount of dollars, but we're spending both of them in 25 instead of one of them in 24. So
Where
that,
are they now, like in the reserve?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So all we're going to do is allocate those. We're also authorizing the executive director to execute the AFA with TxDOT to access those funds, the federal funds. So we'll have the match and we'll have the AFA funds. So that's one of the actions we're asking you today. The second is that there were funds remaining in this program, and the MPO alerted us and the other entities that were awarded in this cycle that there are additional funds. We're the only entity apparently that followed up with MPO about accessing those funds. So we are going to continue that. We're asking for authority to pursue those additional grant funds. If we get them, we may not need to apply for the 26 to 28. We've already applied. We may rescind those applications, but we're coordinating with TxDOT and the MPO to try and figure out how do we access these funds because we can get them sooner. And so we're asking for that authority as well. So add the budget for the match in 25, authority for the executive director to execute the AFA for the 25 match, and authorize the executive director to pursue and accept the additional TASA funds that are available to us, including match for those. So basically we would, instead of using the match in 26 and 28, we'd use it now for the funds today. A lot of moving pieces there. I apologize if I went too fast on that, but happy to recap any of it if you need me to. But staff does recommend approval. Okay,
We have a motion.
thank you.
I second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. This is for all actions under 9, A through C. Then we'll move to item 10, presentation and discussion on change orders recently approved by the executive director for the Fabens Airport Hangar Expansion Project.
IT, would you please bring up the presentation? Perfect. Item 10. So we have our change order PowerPoint this month. As a reminder, the executive director has the authority to execute change orders up to $100,000, but he has to provide a report to the board, and we have 3 such instances today on the Fabens sidewalks. None were required no change orders were approved that required board action. This is just for notification. All 3 are at the Fabens Airport Hangar project. and they are numbers 4, 5, and 6 highlighted in yellow. So the first one is for additional excavation at the foundation. We ran into some very soft sand. We needed to remove it and then provide some compaction, so that was not anticipated originally and required additional excavation. The second one is a redesign and widening of a stem wall, so it's an internal wall, and we needed to widen it about 5 inches to match up and provide support. It was a very small change order, but that was necessary and required by the structural engineer on the project. And last, number 6, is a water line. So originally a 6-inch water line was to be used, but once on site, we realized that was not providing enough pressure. And so in coordination with, I believe it's El Paso Municipal Utility District number 1, we were upgrading that to an 8-inch pipe from a 6-inch pipe. And so that is another additional cost. Again, no action from the board required, just notification. And that's all I have for that item. No action.
All right, there's no action on that, so I'll move to item 11. Update and status of the Pelicano Drive widening project.
As you may be able to determine, Raymond is not with us today. He is online, but today there is a hearing. So we don't have a formal update for you today, but Mr. Tejas will provide an update to you as soon as possible.
Okay.
So no action.
Is there any status on where we're at with regard to moving forward with the work on the project, with the monies we've got?
So I believe there were some news articles about that last night as the county released a statement. Mr. Tejas, would you care to chime in on that? And you're on mute. Oh, perfect.
Good morning, everyone. Raymond Tejas, Executive Director of the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority. Yes, we have provided 100% plans to the surety company. They are reviewing those, and I believe that they've already shared those with the construction contractors to receive bids.
Okay.
So that process is in motion.
All right, good. That's good. At least we're making some progress on that end. All right, well,
Yes,
thank you,
ma'am.
and just keep us posted with regard to today, okay?
Yes, of course. As soon as I have something, I'll share it with you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's no need for a closed session? Any other business? You don't want a closed session?
Oh, my God. I won't be able to sleep for a month.
Want me to make up something so we can have?
I'm good.
Okay, so just so you know, next month, I'm traveling overseas the week that we have our board meeting, so I won't be here. I'm not going to ask to move it, just to make sure that Jim Smith knows he'll need to chair it. I think it's the 11th. The other thing is if there's not any compelling
Yes.
business, we could cancel it, but I don't want to do that until you all determine that there's no need for a meeting.
Okay,
The
Raymond.
the other option is we can move it up a week to the 4th, but I don't necessarily want to do that either because people have their calendars booked. So just so you know, I won't be at that meeting,
Thank you.
unless I can figure out what time it is and zoom in. But, yeah, but I think
No.
it's like nighttime for me. Well, I don't know what time it is. I think I'm ahead.
Okay.
So I might not be somewhere where I can get on
I'll coordinate with Raymond, and I'm sure he's just heard that as well.
okay? And hopefully Jim will be feeling better. And then I also think in January, Raymond talked about the first meeting. He was not going to be here because the month starts early.
It does.
So I think the first meeting's like the 8th.
Yes, ma'am.
But I don't know that we need to change that either unless there's some urgent business that he feels he needs to be there to attend. But you all can decide that and just make sure we have a quorum.
We'll be in touch with that one as well as we
For
figure
that one,
things
I
out.
may have to sit in remotely because I'll be in Florida at that point.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other business? Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second Leah.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's 9:31. Our meeting is adjourned.